Wywiad z wampirem stacji AMC, będący adaptacją książek Anne Rice, to uwidzicielska, gotycka opowieść, która poprzez pryzmat wampirów skupia się na eksplorowaniu istoty człowieczeństwa. W drugim sezonie serialu, który polską premierę będzie miał już 20 czerwca, kontynuujemy emocjonalną podróż z wampirem Louisem i jego przybraną córką Claudią, która zaprowadzi nas do powojennej Europy. Tam poznamy bliżej wampira Armanda, ukochanego Louisa, który pod koniec pierwszego sezonu ujawnił się przed reporterem Danielem Molojem. Dzięki uprzejmości stacji AMC miałam ogromną przyjemność porozmawiać z Assadem Zamanem, który wciela się w ukochaną przez fanów postać Armanda. Zapraszam do wysłuchania naszej rozmowy.
We should get every detail right. I'm listening.
Come and bring the petite beauty.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Théâtre des Vampires.
As someone who's loved the books for over 20 years now, I consider the show to be an absolute triumph. And I know you had the joy of kind of watching the show as well in season 1 as Rashid from the front lines. So as a fellow audience member, what's your favorite thing about season 1 and how does it compare to season 2 now?
Oh, that's such a good question. Thank you for asking that. I really, really appreciate it because, yeah, I did watch season 1 as a spectator, and it felt liberating and also like watching your school homework before going into the exam. And it was amazing. I think it's such a beautifully crafted season of a TV show. Whether you know the Interview with the Vampire, the book or not, it's so well realized. That first season. I think my favorite moment, I know episode 1 stuck with me for days after I watched it because it's almost like a movie in itself. You can watch that. It's like
it's so a phenomenal pilot.
Phenomenal pilot. So perfect. You know, I think it's Louis' speech in the confession box in the final 5 minutes of the show of the episode. That was insane and so good, and Jacob just like
all the awards.
Oh my god, he blew me away with that. And I think that moment is probably my favorite from that episode and from that season. Yeah,
the show deals a lot with memory of the stories we tell ourselves and others, and we get to delve a bit into Armand's backstory this season. But I'm curious, what story, or perhaps maybe what lies, does Armand tell himself?
Armand is very, very skilled at preserving his existence. So that doesn't mean that he's always happy, and that doesn't mean that he will do anything to. I think he will do anything to survive, and that part of that need is needing to have someone to depend on and rely on. He is desperate for. I think he's always been desperate for a shoulder to cry on. He gives this persona of being a leader, but he'd rather not be. If he could choose, he would be led.
Yeah, he's kind of like a scared child that needs protection.
Exactly, for sure. Yeah. And I think maybe that's the lie he tells himself, that he pretends to give this facade of not being the child, but he's the child. I think that's one of his sort of fundamental contradictions of himself.
The book fans know all too well that Armand has a traumatic past. There are a lot of things that happened and people he's met that will be hard to tackle. And of course, we're all looking forward to further seasons of the show. But are these heavier themes, both in this season and hopefully in upcoming ones, something you feel ready to delve into, to tackle?
I'm not ready. No, definitely not ready.
Nobody's ready.
Nobody's ready. I don't think anyone's ready for his backstory. Is it's harrowing, and it's going to be something I really want to explore it. I really want to delve into it because I think it's fascinating storytelling. And I don't want us to, and I hope that the book lovers will also appreciate this, that I think Roland and I, the showrunner, we talked about, there's a lot of hard topics in it. How much of that do we want to open, you know? Are we, because it's sensitive.
Yeah, and it's very real to a lot of people.
Very real to a lot of people. And I think when we eventually go into it, I think we have to do it with sensitivity and honor the way Anne Rice sort of envisioned it, and also do it as safely as possible. And I think that's going to be a hard task, but these guys, the writers and the creators of this show, are genius, and they're brilliantly they're brilliant at tackling the question of humanity and good and bad, and specifically talking about Armand and tackling a character like Marius. I have full confidence that we will do it justice. Even with my version of Armand that we see, is different to the book, is different to what you see in the books, what you envision. But when we were doing a lot of talking in the writing process of how we adapt who I am, who Assad is as a human being, to Armand, that the main focus was, okay, let's say things that we can we have to sort of juggle around in terms of geography, but the essential beats of his life, the trauma, has to be there. That has to be.
The bones stay the same.
The bones stay the same, and I think we've done that. And you get to see, you get to hear some of it in his story. But it'll be great to explore it when we get there. I'm not ready, but the short answer is I'm not ready, but I will be.
I have full trust in the writer's room and Roland. They all have galaxy brains. I can just worship at their altar. When I previously interviewed Jacob, he mentioned that there often happens a spontaneous Anne Rice book club on set when you guys are shooting. So my question is, which character or scene has warranted the longest discussion that you were a part of? Not necessarily in relation to filming, but just as a topic of conversation among the cast.
Oh, that's a good question, because we had so many,
I can imagine.
So many weird and random discussions, often about maybe you think insignificant moments from the show or the series. We'd be like, wait, I know that the theater, when we get to the Coven, the theater company, there were a lot of discussions about the Vampire Sam. You know the Vampire Sam.
Yes. A minor but favorite character.
Exactly. Oh my God, he's fantastic. Chris is a beautiful actor, and it's brilliant. We were trying to sort of work out who he might be in the books as well, because in the first book we only meet by name Celeste, Estelle, I think, Santiago, and Armand when we get to Paris. So we're like, who's Sam in the book? And I think Sam features. We thought Sam features later on in one of the books. I can't remember who it was now. Who we thought, but yeah.
Yeah, but the show does incorporate a lot of minor, sometimes bigger, but sometimes minor elements from the further books. So it's like an Easter egg hunt for the fans.
Yeah, because I'm guessing you're an expert on the books.
I mean, I'm not an expert, but 20 years of reading does something to the brain.
Yeah, exactly. Because we met Fareed in season 1.
Yep.
Who people may or may not know. Yeah, they're sprinkled all over, and I think that's one of the joys. Another sort of genius aspect of this interview is just going to be us two going, "Hail to the writers!" Because,
listen, they deserve it. They deserve their flowers.
Yeah, they do. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, final question before I let you go. Let's imagine sky's the limit, no budgetary constraints. What element of any of the future books would you personally like to see in the show in the future?
One of the moments that sort of stayed with me was I can't remember which book. Is it Queen of the Damned or TVL?
If you tell me the moment, maybe we can decipher it.
Where Marius takes Akasha out to the sun, and it's called the thing where all. I
think it might be Vampire Lestat in the flashbacks.
Yes, possibly. Maybe when Marius tells his story.
Yeah, I think so.
And he takes Akasha to the sun, and that's when all the whole sort of world of vampires start burning up.
Yeah,
I am so excited to see that. So it's going to be
the CGI department's going to have its work cut out for them.
Yeah, but you know what it kind of reminds me of? It is such a weird way. Did you ever watch Breaking Bad?
No, actually, I haven't.
There's a brilliant... Breaking Bad is a brilliant show, a brilliant AMC show that you'll have to watch. There's a moment where the main character sort of orders the deaths. It's a very Godfather moment. He arranges the deaths of all of these prisoners, and it's like a montage sequence of watching these various prisoners being killed in various grotesque ways, with some beautiful sort of jazz music playing in the background. And I think I have a feeling Roland would do something like that with that moment.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Assad wants to see the world burn. The vampire world.
Armand is living in me. I think it's Armand speaking now.
I mean, people say, Sam Reed is possessed by Lestat. You can be possessed by Armand. Assad, thank you so much for your incredible work on the show, for giving our favorite chaotic gremlin so much passion and heart and vulnerability. And thank you so much for this amazing chat.
Thank you, Anna. It's been lovely to chat with you. Thank you.
Mam nadzieję, że nasza rozmowa zachęciła was do oglądania wywiadu z wampirem. Jako wieloletnia fanka książek Anne Rice polecam serial z całego serca i zapraszam na premierę drugiego sezonu już 20 czerwca o 22 na kanale AMC. Emisja kolejnych odcinków będzie miała miejsce w każdy czwartek, zawsze o 22. Pogaście więc światła, wczujcie się w mroczny klimat i koniecznie dajcie się uwieść tej nieśmiertelnej opowieści.